I'm done.
It's okay. Kirklin has to edit it, you know.
Are we live already?
Yeah, what do you think the starting
jeez.
soon thing for? Jeez,
I don't know. Sometimes you just throw shit up. I usually just ignore it.
Remember when you were making out with your first girlfriend and you came right as she touched your leg? It was me, Barry. I jerked you off at super speed so it'd seem like you nutted at just a woman's touch. Get out the face! Get out the face! Hans, get off the beach!
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 473rd episode of the GeekVerse podcast. I'm hashtag the Plu. Oh my god, I'm hashtag the oh no, take 3. I'm hashtag the Pew Boy. Hashtag I jerk you off, Barry. Travis Snell, and I'm joined by.
The other hashtag Pew Boy, also AKA super excited to edit that meme video into this podcast later tonight. But yeah, happy to be here. Kirklin Patzer. I don't even know if I said my name.
No, you didn't say your name at all.
I did not. I'm just hashtag nothing because I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm behind on the times apparently.
With the Pew Boy, yeah. With which the Pew Boy or the jerk off video?
I know the jerk off video.
Okay, good. As S-Bub says, an all-timer reverse flash meme. Yes. Would you believe that? Well, have you watched the actual video part? Actually, introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Jessica.
Yep.
And no, I have not.
Okay, well, not that you have to rush to do it right now. I was going to get it for the actual video feed here, but I didn't have time because it might take downloading. But that's not honestly the real clip. But he doesn't jerk off the Flash and no cartoons or anything. But
In my head canon, he does.
The dubbing is so good, you would believe that was the actual clip and everything like that. But I'm glad they didn't put that in a Flash Kids movie because parents would be like,
Holy God, what are you showing me? Come on!
Okay, as I was just saying,
the right click button. That's all
as I was watching the Batman last night, like great movie, completely in it. You have killed that scene for me now. Like it's such a good scene and like a lot of pressure in the moment. But fuck, as soon as I don't even know how to explain it. I just heard his like. It's like it's clipped out of an audio clip, but it's right in the movie. I was just like laughing, shaking my head. Shay's like, "What are you laughing about?" Because it's not really a scene that you would just burst out laughing on.
Shay's like, "What are you laughing about?" And Kirkland's like,
Holy God, what are you showing me? Come on!
What happened there? That was sloppy.
I was about to play a Riddler. What was this? That's when we were like, oh, is that the Joker's laugh? It wasn't the Joker's laugh. It was just Riddler's laugh. The Batman times were such good era and everything like that. But let's see. I think it's from other R-rated DC anime, so it would have been fine. Yeah, it's from Flashpoint, and but still, there's no subplot of him jerking the Flash off and everything. But yes, we're here. Big week for us. Big show. We're going to talk about later. S-Bubs, our newest patron. Thank you very much, S-Bubs.
Hey-o.
Big supporter. So thank you very much for that. We really appreciate you and everyone else supporting us. But yeah, hopefully soon you'll be joining us for some after nines or whatnot because it's always a good time. But yeah, we got a big stuff. We got this happening. We're reviewing Doctor Strange, the 1978 one that's coming out this week. There's just a side quest drop with Dylan and oh man, I forgot the guy's name from Super Switch Heads. I forgot it. I've never talked to him, so Kirkland's gonna look it up. But they reviewed Nintendo Switch Sports, so I haven't got to listen to that because I was busy all day. But I'm excited to because I want to know if that game's worth buying. So I'll be getting that downloaded like all you should be, and then Moon Knight finale, and then Halo in this huge week. Halo episode 7's coming out, but then the grand finale this week, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Not only a big movie, but lots of draft points on the lines and everything like that. So It's a massive, massive week. And the other thing I want to direct you to is the Patreon. So this is a post that everybody can see if you go to one of our latest posts. It tells you all about our new tiers. I'm not going to rant about them right now. I'm just telling you about 2 new exclusive shows coming to them in different tiers. You guys are going to be selecting content we're going to be reviewing, retrospectives we're going to be reviewing. So a lot of new tiers and kind of benefits and bonuses added to ones that are already established. But yeah, go over, check that out. We really appreciate it. And that's why you got to check it out, because if you join the Phase 4 tier, you can be a Patreon producer. We want to shout out Aaron Braden, April of Darkness, Carl Ritchie, and Smalley Biggs for producing GeekVerse at the highest tier and making this machine go. You know, and you guys, I put it in the chat there. We're doing a Star Wars topic for bread and butter next month, and you guys got to vote about it, what we're going to do and everything like that. So you guys are controlling what we talk about. We're puppets. And then, yeah, the next 2 casts we're going to do, the 2 shows that are exclusive Patreon now is their callbacks to the original GV, where it's the bread and butter, because we used to call the main topics the bread and butter. I don't know why I turned that off. I meant to stay up there. Bread and butter. It's just us talking in depth about a big topic. So we'll be doing that soon. I think the next one we'll be doing is we're going to be planning out the 10 years the next MCU is going to do. So we're going to be picking 60 projects, and then the other one is going to be the originals. That one's is going to be always trying to have 4 or 5 of us as original GV crew, and we're going to talk about, should be recording to more for patrons. We're going to be talking about the origins of Gertie and that time. We're going to talk about some other stuff, but that's the main topic, because we've never talked about on air, and I think we've referred to Gertie, and I think the only time Taylor talked about once was in a trial. In the trial, it came up that like I posed as a fan. I think lots of people were like, what happened to that? So we're going to explain the whole thing about Taylor's obsessed fan this week coming to Patreon. So check that out. That'll be in the next 2 weeks. Lots of good stuff dropping there. There you go. There's another ticker for. Oh, you can have multiple tickers. How many tickers can you have? I'm not gonna try.
Too many. We can have too many.
Crash the whole stream and everything like that. But yeah, big week. I'm not gonna throw at you, Jessica. Where can they find that stuff?
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm. I don't throw to Kirklin because he bungled it one time, so he has to earn it back. So
in the search bar,
I think I bungled
with
it
your
a couple
internet-
more times.
With that internet connection, you can find us on Facebook, GeekVerse, on Twitter at GeekVerseCast, on Patreon. Our website is geekverse.com.
.ca. Yeah.
And yeah, YouTube, SoundCloud, wherever you listen to your podcast music, Spotify.
Not SoundCloud anymore. But
Oh.
that's okay. That's how much has changed since you've been gone. No more SoundCloud.
It's been a good minute, but I think I did okay. I don't think I bungled it too much.
No, you did better than Kirklin. Kirklin just forgot everything. He forgot what podcast he was on. He's like, this
It's
is
like I like turtles.
Marvel Alliance. It's like, you've not hosted that show before. That's my show. But you need the you wouldn't get it from Joker. Yeah, there's a lot of video. We don't use the videos enough, but we will in the future. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything else. Go ahead, Jessica.
Can you guys just explain the pug boy?
It's Pew.
Oh,
Like-
that hurt. That was like nails on chalkboard.
We will explain it when we get to that trailer later on with Florence Pugh. It's Pew Boy. It's actually Pew Boys. We created a clan. Well, no, a group. I'm not going to say clan. Let's not go that route. We created a group called #Pew Boys. We're a part of it. Maddie's part of it. Chris from Marvel Alliance. Huge group. But it's not about the quantity. It's about the quality. And it's just we're big fans of Florence Pugh. But we'll talk about that later because we got a whole Florence Pugh trailer to talk about, you know?
I wasn't invited, so, you know.
Well, you weren't here for the creation. You can be, I guess you could be a Pew. You could be a Pew boy too. Like, I guess we kind of made it gender specific. I don't know why we did that, but it just happened randomly, and then the people ran with it. You know, I bought a Florence Pugh shirt somewhere in this house.
Because we're misogynistic assholes. That's
Yeah,
why
we don't want any
yeah.
females in the group. Yeah.
exactly.
It's because I was gone for so long.
Yeah, that too. Well, that's why we created it. We're like, well, we got to do something. So
Jessica's gone. Let's start this.
she
this
can't
really
stop
bro
us
dude.
now.
yeah.
Yeah. Jessica already has to deal with pictures. You know what? Eventually, so here's the other thing. One last thing before we get into news. We have this meme group, and it's me, Jessica, Kirklin, Taylor, and Kyle only on Sundays. We created it because this is probably a backstage story because somebody didn't like memes dropping the original group. There's only 2 other GeekVerse members on there, so you can take a guess who. We'll talk about that one other day. But anyway, so we created that group. I don't know how it started, but now we've been using people's like O-face as the profile picture, and Taylor just uploaded the Florence Pugh one today. I was pretty upset because it's the month of Wanda, and Wanda was up there. But eventually, soon, I feel like we'll have to get a guy in there. There's just like and we're gonna talk about in the what is it Oh, Don't Worry, Darling trailer. I feel like there has to be. I don't want to search Guy O face in Google. We'll come to it, but eventually we got to get one in there. You know,
The
I did not.
Batman.
The guy that you
What do you-
guys made the profile picture was freaking Shane
Yeah.
from Love Is
You Love
Blind.
Blind,
So
yeah.
Like his derp face. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever watch The Ultimatum, Jessica?
I have not. I've
Oh
been.
my God.
I'm on season 11, episode 8 of Shameless. I'm like 4 episodes from being done, and then I can move on with my life and watch other things.
Oh man, I thought everybody was going to get along. Everyone was going to watch that. They like Love Is Blind, and
Is it done now? Because they were doing weekly
Yeah, it
episode
is
releases.
done. Yeah, it is done now. So,
I'll get on it.
Kirkland, how's life going?
It's going really good. Got back from vacation. I haven't podcasted in exactly 7 days, and it's like on paper, that's probably not a long time, but it feels like an eternity. Honestly, I feel like I've just missed so many things. Whether it's an awesome Halo review, I missed last week's Moon Knight. Watched that in the airport, and I still haven't actually listened to your guys' review for that one, so I'm excited to listen to that tomorrow to work just to get your guys' thoughts, because I absolutely love that. I know this episode's not a Moon Knight review, but I absolutely love that episode, and I've just been in withdrawals. I think just putting my voice out there into the cyberspace. So yeah, no, it's good to be back, and I
Where
feel
did you go on
refreshed and just ready
vacation?
to go. I went to the island, Vancouver Island,
Was it
Victoria.
rainy?
Only one day. Saturday was the only day it rained. It was really, really nice
Supposed to be-
weather.
yeah,
Not
it's
too
good.
hot, not too cold. But like, I feel like the climate there, like in one day, it could be like 3 different climates. Like in the morning, you're cold, yeah, pants and a hoodie, and then the sun comes out, you're just sweating.
You're
so
naked
hot,
outside.
and then- yeah, you're swinging dong. You have reverse flash coming up at you, and yeah, no, but it was awesome. Lots of good food. Just not worrying about work.
Oh yeah.
Like day job and this job, you know. Not that it's like a bad
Hear
thing
that,
to be
fans?
podcasting,
Fuck
but
you.
it's just nice to get some refresh.
How much-
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. How much food can you really eat with that small mouth though? Like you
A
gotta.
salt mouth.
yeah,
Lots.
yeah.
You just draw it out. The
Just in
server's like, this
straws?
fucking assholes when you're like 4 hours slurping on that linguine. But
Ew.
and like usually when I go on vacation, I don't check news like at all. So it was so nice to be coming back. First newscast back, and I have Pew to talk about. # Pew Boys. So life is good. I'm excited. Doctor Strange this week. I like barely even realized that until I opened my phone this morning. So good times.
Well, you know what is not going on this week? Somebody directing the Fantastic Four, because the Fantastic Four has no director anymore. John Watts has stepped away. So this came out Friday. I think the reason they put this out Friday is lots of time when they put out news on the weekends or the Friday, they're like, oh yeah, we want to kind of bury this and whatnot. So they put out a joint press release. It was MCU, like whatever, Marvel Studios, John Watts, Feige. So Jessica, because I got to catch you up on Pew Boys. If you don't know, John Watts, he was the guy that directed all the 3 MCU Spider-Mans with Tom Holland. So he was going to direct Fantastic Four, but they had said, even though he's working on a movie currently with George Clooney and Brad Pitt, that he just needs a break. He's a little fatigued from the superhero stuff. It'd be too big of a project, so they're parting ways. So there's been no director named right now. They said it was all amicable. They said, oh, we can't wait to work with John Watts again on another project. And he said, I can't wait to see what they do with Fantastic Four. You know what? I'm actually going to be selfish, and I'm going to go first because I've been kind of waiting all week. Me and Ted at one point were going to cast earlier, like maybe on the Friday, but then it didn't end up happening. So it's like, okay, I've been wanting to talk about this. But it's interesting because I'm like, I've gone in such a loop-de-loop with this story because it was way, way back. God, when did they do that Investor Days, Kirkland? Was that it was December 2020, just 20, right? It was COVID. Yeah, it was 20, yeah.
I think you're right, but I'm gonna double check.
I think it was, yeah, put in Investors Day, John Watts. But anyway, so they announced him. This was before No Way Home. And I liked the Spider-Man movies, but I didn't love them, so I felt like it was kind of a safe choice. It was like, okay, this is a guy they like working with. So, of course, Fantastic Four has had, let's say, middling to bad movies, right? So they really want to knock it out of the park this time. They want someone to come in and be like fucking Nolan for Batman and just be like, okay, reinvent the wheel or at least make it so people like it. So I understood picking this guy that they had liked working with before, and then now they're parting ways. So I'm not sad about that because I did love No Way Home, but No Way Home, I don't know. It sounds bad me saying like, I don't think anybody could do that. Don't get me wrong. I just like, there was so much good stuff to play with there that I don't think it was easy to make that all work, because he still made like Andrew and Toby and the villains and Tom Holland all work together as a great story. So I was a bit more excited after Fantastic Four, but still the first two MCU Spider-Man films, I was like, oh man, I need to see him do it. So I just feel like obviously he gets a little bit of like a head start because we already love those characters. But either way, he's not directing it. And I'm 50-50 on... I don't know, like, if I believe it or not, because the one side of me in the same article says, oh, it's still planned for him to direct Spider-Man 4. So I could believe, okay, he would have to go direct Fantastic Four and then go direct Spider-Man 4 with also just doing No Way Home, which No Way Home, big movie, delayed because COVID, huge tour because all these villains and Toby and Andrew. So it was a massive movie. So I would get, if he's doing the press for that, does Fantastic Four, does Spider-Man 4, he might look at it and be like, that's just too much. I don't want to do it. But at the same point, you feel like he would have maybe had that in mind already. Like he was doing No Way Home when they announced this. I feel like, maybe it's fatigue after. And I don't know. Because it just feels like it's a nice, with them putting it on the weekend, it's a nice statement to put out there and be like, oh yeah, and I don't think there's problems. I just don't know if they want to go different routes. I do believe he will work with them again because they've worked together so many times. And I think if it was a bigger falling out, they wouldn't have put out a joint statement. So he's not doing this anymore. Kirklin, Patzer, what are your thoughts? I mean, we're going to talk about some people that people have thrown out there for replacements or what they think. But where were you? Because it's been a long time. Were you excited for John Watts to direct this? And are you fine with him dropping out? Are you kind of bummed about that? Where are you in the grand scheme of things?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like John Watts, the name, hasn't really like hit me until like this last Spider-Man movie. Like after the trilogy's done, it's like, okay, I know who John Watts really is just by the name alone now. I feel like initially when he was doing the first Spider-Man, he didn't really have like that big name effect for me personally that like maybe some other directors in the MCU might have had. So like... I feel like I've really grown to like him just because personally I really like those Spider-Man movies. Not everybody does, but I really do, and I really like just the way that he was able to have certain character development with the characters that were introduced from that very first movie, and some characters that I thought were just kind of like background characters, but they really grew throughout the trilogy, and I really liked what he was doing with those movies. But and like just reading through the statements and some of the articles, because Feige, it was him and Feige, right, that put out the statement like, oh, we really liked, or maybe it was Feige and Louis Desposito, is that his name?
Yeah, Louis Esposito.
Yeah, so like I correct me if I'm wrong, but this statement was something like, we really liked working with him. Mm-hmm. We really want to work with him in the future, or excited to work with him in the future, because it's already been announced that he's doing the fourth Spider-Man now, isn't it?
It's assumed. It's not announced because there's no date, but it's assumed he's doing it. That was even that report. That's the plan, it sounds like. But.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know. Like on one hand, I could definitely see like the fatigue from doing like probably doing one MCU movie alone is huge, like just for like the press tour and like the amount of pressure and just the amount of hands that are probably on projects like that. Like it's probably insane. So I could definitely understand like that statement of him saying, I maybe just need like fatigue break and then do something that's not in the MCU realm or comic book movie, because if I'm not mistaken, he's doing a movie with like George Clooney and Brad Pitt right now, right?
I did just say that, but that's okay. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
I'm reminding myself. Okay, I've been out of the game for a week, but yeah, like I feel like, I don't know, that there is some tomfoolery, just with the fact of. It seemed like he was pretty settled in the MCU of like what he was doing with his movies. And I think personally, if he was doing the Fantastic Four movies, I think since he's already been a part of the MCU, he could navigate these new characters with just some older characters and like just make the transition seem a little bit smoother, as opposed to just having like a brand new person. At least that's one way I can look of it that way. But I don't know. I feel like maybe more information will come out. Like maybe there'll be like some drunken interview or something where someone says like, oh yeah, this person was just putting out too. They'll have the Feige snipers or something like that taking him out if he's putting words out like that. But I don't know, because I feel like I can see both sides of the argument of, okay, he is just fatigued, just doesn't want to do it, like he would love to, but it's just with his life right now, he just doesn't want to focus on it right now. Or maybe it's just he had a direction that he wanted to go with these new characters to the MCU, and someone didn't say something that he liked or something, so it's like, okay, whatever. I don't even want to like deal with going through these hurdles and hoops. But
and it's not like it hasn't happened, because you've had two situations where you have like Edgar Wright, who was planned to direct Ant-Man, never rolled footage, and then it didn't happen, right? But then you have someone like Scott Derrickson, who directed Doctor Strange 1, and they said, oh, he's directing Doctor Strange 2. He was in pre-production, and then it just didn't work out. So there's a chance that they just didn't mesh creatively on it, because I 100% feel that they have to get this. They got to get this one right. They got to get Fantastic Four right, because it has such a stain on and everything like that. Super Bad Mike says Watts always felt like the safe choice for FF. He doesn't exactly have the distinctive visual style. And for me, I always got the safe choice, because if you want to make sure it's good, why not pick the guy who's made you 3 movies you like already, right? So that's saying where, Jessica, where are you just on excitement for like a Fantastic Four in general? Because they don't have it officially dated, but it's supposed to be coming out, I'd say like to that, like somewhere in that 23, 24, like next 2 years ish, but there's not an official date on it yet.
So nothing had even started for this? There was no casting, recording, nothing?
No, just I imagine a script and like pre-production, like probably storyboards, but nothing that said probably not sets. Probably, I guarantee you they have a list of actors that they're looking at, but nothing else has been announced other than he's directing the movie. That was all that was announced a couple of years ago. And obviously because Spider-Man, there wasn't much movement on it.
Okay, so I want to preface this by saying, you sent the topics in our group chat earlier today, and I was just skimming quickly.
What's up, you?
And you put, Fantastic Four director, and I just read Fantastic Beasts 4 director, and I was like, really? We're going to talk about Fantastic Beasts 4?
Yeah.
Like,
huge topic.
Anyway, so, I mean, I can see both sides of it, kind of as Kirklin was talking about.
Turk, oh, that's your name now. Kirklin Patzer.
So, yes, he has made them a ton of money, and obviously he has a good vision, but it might be nice to kind of have a different storytelling vibe, especially if he's going to continue on and, do another trilogy for Spider-Man, have someone who has a different creative style. That being said, there is obviously a curse with Fantastic Four. It's every single time they put one out, it's not been good. So is it better to go with the surefire bet that's going to, be more likely to produce a better movie? I definitely could see in his position how it would be exhausting to do superhero, and then if Spider-Man continues on to do more, and Fantastic Four does well.
That's where he's leaving to go do Fantastic Beasts 4.
I mean,
he's looking at the numbers every day. He's like, fuck, this isn't looking good for a sequel. Or another sequel.
Which one's worse? The Curse of Fantastic Beasts or the Curse of Fantastic Four?
I'd probably still watch. Yeah, Fantastic Beasts killed a beloved franchise. Where Fantastic Four is just like, it's lesser tier superheroes, even though they were the main guys at one point. But so that's what I asked you, Jessica. Not that you got to have a name, but what do you think's more likely as far as? Do you think they go with another former MCU director of, hey, we want to go with someone we trust like they're doing with Watts, or do you think they go a different route of like a first timer?
I think they'll probably stick with someone they know or someone who has a history of, producing high quality movies. I mean, because with, what was it, Star Wars, we had someone dropped out and they brought back someone they had already worked with for the first one.
Colin Trevorrow dropped out at 9 and they brought JJ back. That's what they did, yeah. So, and then, you can go either.
JJ's coming in.
JJ would be great. Even though Rise of Skywalker really hurt me, I think JJ.
The Star Trek movies, though, those aren't bad. Come on,
like Skywalker hurt me so much.
What about Michael Bay?
Michael
Bay. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. On that way, get some drones up in
torch,
there, which I can't believe. Ambulance is already on VOD, people. So go check that out. I reviewed that like less than a month ago, and you can already buy it. But I'm gonna get some of Kirkland Patzer's thoughts after this first ad break, so we'll be right back. And we're back. So Kirklin Pats, or even though I hear you typing away to write down some
ready.
stuff.
I'm always
Zack
ready.
Snyder's Fantastic Four. The internet would fucking destroy itself. See, now I'm not opposed to Zack Snyder directing a Marvel movie. I don't think Fantastic Four would definitely be the way to go. I think you got to give him something else, but that's not happening. He's going to make 2 movies for Netflix. He's a Netflix guy now.
He's happy.
busy. Yeah, he's making his.
He's
stars
holding his
over there.
camera. He's having fun.
Yeah, so Jessica joined later, but I asked you, Kirkland, to give me an MCU director that you think would fit, and then give me a non-MCU director that you think would fit. Feige comes to you, he's like, "Okay, I need 2 choices: one in the family, one without the family, or one without a family. I don't want anyone with a family. Their problems."
That I would really be questioning on the real reason why this chap left, John Watts.
Yeah,
It's like-
we need you to divorce your wife, John.
Yeah,
She's a
your
problem.
wife's pregnant. You're fucking done.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, so I was throwing some directors around in my head, and when I was just looking into the topic, it seems like one name that some people keep murmuring is maybe not even murmuring, like speaking. You know,
You're
going
gonna
to
bring up the elephant. You're gonna bring up the elephant in the room, I imagine, right?
I don't know, maybe. I was gonna mention Peyton Reed, Ant-Man director.
That's
I
one of the
believe.
elephants.
Yeah, one of the elephants. Is this the wild elephant that you're thinking of, John Krasinski?
Yeah, it's the other elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big one. Yeah.
I don't think I've seen him direct anything because I haven't seen Quiet Place. I've heard good things, at least about the first one. Second one on
Both
par
great.
with the first
Both,
one.
I
both
think the
great?
first one's better. I think the first one's
Okay.
better, but I don't think the second one's like a massive
Yeah.
step down or anything. It's just it definitely
Yeah.
feels like a in the middle of a trilogy. That's what it feels
Okay.
like. That's my only probably con. And some characters make some dumb choices as always, but you know.
As always. But so it's tough for me to say my own personal interest on a John Krasinski pick because I just haven't seen his directing style. I really like him in The Office, and he was in that Amazon show, right? It was like Jack Reacher.
Jack
or
Ryan.
something.
I never
Jack
watched
Ryan.
it. Yeah, I want to.
Shane and I watched the first few episodes of that, and he was really good in it. I think we just stopped watching for there's probably so much content to absorb around that time, but he was really good in it. And I think this would just be really funny because everybody's just fan casting him for. There's some murmurs or just rumors that he could possibly be a variant in the Doctor Strange movie. So
Yes.
I think if he was just not Reed Richards. in another multiverse, he is Reed Richards and directs the own movie and is just kind of just everywhere, all of the MCU. But for directing, I think that is wild. I don't think that'll happen, but and again, it's tough for me to really say because I don't know if his directing style would fit because I haven't seen him direct anything. But still, it's kind of funny to just at least have that on paper.
I'd say if you haven't watched Quiet Place, but as the biggest praise I could give it, that once I saw Quiet Place 1 and even 2, I went, okay, I think this guy can direct anything. I think those movies are that
Okay.
good.
That's
I was
good.
actually pretty salty. Last year was fine because there's so many great movies, but the first one I was salty. We didn't get Golden Geeks, so I thought that was a prime movie. But yeah, that's. So we are doing so why one of the reasons we switched it because we're doing that Patreon one where we're going to plan 60 projects for the MCU in the next 10 years. And to me, I wanted to wait because that is the biggest elephant in the room. Because there was rumors all the way about 6 months ago that John Krasinski, he's going to be in Doctor Strange and he's playing a Reed Richards variant, right? Those were the rumors. So if that is for some, I don't want to be the conspiracy theorist because I have some questions here from S-Bubs too because he has conspiracy theories about other Marvel switches, but. There is a conspiracy theory online. Okay, well, let's say something did happen and they got John Krasinski for Reed Richards and John Watts was going to direct it, but they said you can do something else, but maybe because we kind of want John to do this because I really believe. Now, here's the thing: I'm somebody I'm in the super minority. I never wanted. I didn't think it would be awful. Just anytime I heard John Krasinski as Reed Richards, I didn't see it. It wasn't maybe
It's
for
better
me.
options.
Yeah, I thought there's better options. And hey, if he's cast in Doctor Strange or in Fantastic Four in 3 years and he proves me wrong, great. Sure, I want it to be good. But I always said I'd love it if he were to direct. That's not my pick, but I'd love it if he would direct. But I also just feel I think it's both or nothing. I don't think because I think he knows the MCU's a time suck, and I think he knows there's other things he wants to do.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of like a scratch. It's almost like the same way. Like I was fine with Batman being cast as Batman. I was fine when Ben Affleck was cast as Batman. When that first happened, everyone was memeing on. But I thought, one, I think it's a good enough choice. But my second thing was, I just want him to fucking direct a Batman. Haha,
Yeah.
it never happened. But like my whole thing was like, Gone Baby Gone, The Town, Argo. I'm like, oh, I don't even care. Sure, he can be a fine Batman, but if he's gonna direct Batman, that's all worth it. And that's kind of the same way if someone were to come to me and be like, hey, he's gonna be Reed Richards, but he's also gonna direct. Then I'd be like, okay, I'd be for it. So I don't know if I believe that conspiracy theory, but for some reason, if he is in the movie this Thursday, and then next week we get an announcement that he's directing Fantastic Four, this would make a lot more sense in the future. And I don't want that just sounds so conspiracy theorist, but
I love it.
I want to wait until next week. But yeah, I've always said my MCU pick was Peyton Reed. He did the Ant-Man movies, and that was always, anytime I watch those movies, I just feel like that's Fantastic Four. He actually, I think in the early 2000s, was working on a Fantastic Four movie. He was going to put it in the 1960s and have like a period piece. Didn't happen. So he loves that. He directed great episodes with The Mandalorian. So that's my dream pick. I don't know what's going to happen. We'll get in that too, because his third movie, Ant-Man movie, did switch. So we'll get in that, because Bubs has a theory about that. But my non-MCU pick, I was going to give Taylor a nice little Star Wars boner here, but he's not here. But my non-Star Wars pick, Jessica, you don't know her directing, but you know her acting, was Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah. Bryce Dallas Howard. So she's been directing Mandalorian episodes, Jessica. She's the girl like in Jurassic World and stuff like that. Like you've seen her a bunch of things, but she has been killing it. And maybe there's going to be an announcement next month or two about, oh, she's doing something Star Wars really has her own series. But the fact that they have not announced any movie or series with Bryce Dallas Howard directing, when she's given like some of the best episodes they've done, I don't know what they're smoking over there. So I'd love it if Feige came in and swooped in and just took her. And it's like, oh yeah, like they haven't given you a Star Wars movie yet? You want to direct the fucking Fantastic Four? Boom. Like I think that would be great. And I don't know if it's going to happen, because I honestly feel like there is something happening at Star Wars for her. She's just directed so much of it, and she's a big fan. And everyone like her and Deborah Chow, along with Favreau and Filoni, like they love those four. So like I feel that it would be a really good fit. And I don't know, maybe she would work in that system, but yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. Obviously, I don't know when there'll be an announcement, because like Esbub said, this movie is likely the end of phase 4, and we still have all this year. The only thing is next year we don't have the Marvel movies planned out, other than oh no, I guess we do already because we have Ant-Man, and then we got the Marvels, and then we have Guardians. So we have next year figured out. So they got lots of time. As we've seen, they can delay movies as much as they really want. You know, they don't have to, so.
Yeah, I was gonna mention Bryce Dallas Howard again. I just seen her name on the interwebs murmuring around, and then I feel like because I've just seen like her work in Mandalorian, she hasn't done any like big movies that I would know of, right?
No, Mandalorian was her like debut and everything like that as far as directing.
Yeah, so I really really liked her directing of those Mandalorian episodes that she did, and I don't know, like it was another one of those things where I'm like, does this fit like really well, or is it just a wild pick? But it's nice to hear your little words there reaffirming the possibility there. I think that'd be really cool, like just debut for her too, because it's you're balancing like 4 characters. It's not just introducing one new character into the mix. You have to sell everyone on this group, this new crew. It's like a little mini Avengers squad that you have to just bring in and make them stand on their own, but also be able to adapt with the rest of the crew that's in the MCU. And I think that I don't know. I really hope that whoever takes the reins on this project doesn't try to just make it like a big Avengers thing. Like it can stand on its own. And really, like I think that should be the main selling point of the Fantastic Four movie. It is just a project that can stand on its own. Not like, okay, where are we gonna go with these characters? Like, let's just have a really good first movie, and whoever takes the reins, I hope they do a really good job, and hopefully they don't get scared off. They sign on a couple weeks over, they're like, oh no, this person cut ties with Marvel.
No, I think the next one they'll make sure it's pretty like rock solid. It's not like Fast and Furious where they're like having problems with Vin Diesel and all this stuff.
Vin Diesel's gonna be directing Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Anything else, Jessica, on this front?
I, off the top of my head, don't know enough directors either in the MCU or out of the MCU to really
So fine. Then I got a question on the cast. Would you rather them go because we've seen it both ways, where the OG one was kind of a mix and it was like younger and older, and then the reboot was like younger. Do you think they should go like older Fantastic Four, younger Fantastic Four, or kind of a mix again for who they're looking for like Mr. Fantastic and the Thing and stuff? Obviously, the Thing's just a big rock guy, but still, like, what do you think?
Be a little rock guy.
He could be a little. He's a kid. The Thing's a kid. He's just a baby thing. But like, what do you think the demographic is? They should go for like the team overall.
I think you should have somewhat of a mix. You know, Mr. Fantastic, you just picture him older. Was it the Human Torch?
Human Torch, yeah.
Yeah, you see that, being younger. And, well, Kirklin did mention, you want it to be a standalone film. You do want to plan that if there is going to be more than one movie, your actors aren't, coughing dust. So you want to have them at least somewhat
Coughing
young.
dust.
80-year-old thing.
Yeah. Get up there. Yeah.
And obviously the all younger cast did not sit well with audiences either, right?
Yeah, it also doesn't help when they're in a shit movie too. Like that's always, it's never a fun thing, So
They had good talent, like in that. I still haven't seen it, but like it's still weird to me that like it bombs so hard that like you have Miles Teller in there, Michael B. Jordan. Don't remember the other two, but
Kate
like
Mara
those
and
two
Jamie
names.
Bell.
Jamie Bell. But yeah, big actors. Who's the director on that one?
Josh Trank. He directed Chronicle and then some terrible movie with Tom Hardy a couple of years ago that I reviewed. It was awful.
So just all bad movies from him?
No, Chronicle is really good. Chronicle
is really good.
Yeah. So, Matt, I hope that answers your question. Because Maddie asked, do you think Feige's choice would be another lesser-known director and bring them in the fold, or does he choose someone already MCU a la Peyton Reed? So that's what you can do when you join Patreon. Any tier, you can send in questions. Maddie has another question later on, so we'll be getting to that. And then, well, we can transition... Well, the only thing is, let's see, the cast was another problem with Fantastic. Yeah, exactly. All you need is some good writers, good directors. Not easy, but... all you also need for that director, like, you got to make sure the director doesn't have a big bush going on. He has to have some really nice pubage looking. Look at just playing Jessica right up there. Because this episode is sponsored by Manscaped, and man, I imagine whoever's directing Fantastic Four, they're going to be sweating. They're going to be a lot of pressure. So you're going to want to shave it up. You're going to want to trim it up. You're going to want to exfoliate it. You're going to want to revive it. Everything you want to do. Even that lip chap, you're not going to want to use it down there, but you want to use it up there. You're going to go meet Kevin Feige. Imagine you have some dry lips. You're not directing my fucking Fantastic Four.
Just staring right at your lips.
Yeah. He's like, John had better lips than you, and we let him go. What's going on here? But... Manscaped is the best below in men's grooming. Right now, you can head over to manscaped.com and use our podcast code GVPOD to get 20% and free worldwide shipping. We're with them until June, but we got some really cool stuff coming up. I can't announce it yet, but in June for maybe Father's Day and stuff like that. So look out, but you want to be prepared. And know what? These are great Father's Day's gifts because I actually got this for my dad's birthday. He had a hoot because he just thought it was a regular shaver, and then when he opened it, it said like ball shaver. Oh, he was laughing and everything like that. But yeah, as I've said, summer's coming up. You're going to be sweating. You're going to be moist. There's going to be all these areas already wet. You don't want to be stinking. So that's why either shave it up or all this stuff right there can spruce it up. Let's say you're in a rut. You're coming from the work to beach and you got to go to a party. You got to do something. Just it's good to go. And the biggest thing, the 4.0 lawnmower trimmer, that is the way to go because, man, it is just it's a gift to all of us. The light bulb, I had this the other day because I did two things. I cut my hair off, as you can see, and I had to use my big hair trimmer shaver. And one, that has the cord to charge up, just a pain in the ass. And two, it's just it sucks when it's getting low and it's just bulky. With the Manscaped one, I just remember, man, right when I'm done, just put in this nice little holder, just charges by itself. No issue, no pain in the ass. So, Kirklin, are you ready for summer? You ready to get Manscaped up?
Absolutely. I was telling you, I just got back from my trip and I flew. You can't take big liquids through the security there. It's limited to 100 mils. Luckily, got my crop preserver under 100 mils. The little TSA agent, takes my little bag, sees the Manscaped, locks me in the eyes, gave me a little wink there. They knew what was going on. They knew I was smooth and just ready to go for anywhere, So
they tried to body
cavity
cavity search them,
They tried to,
yeah. Because they heard, oh, you're using Manscaped. I gotta get
their fingers weren't getting all tangled in no bush there. That was smooth. So I'm ready for summer. I praise Manscaped, here and there, everywhere. I'm so pissed though because my favorite lip balm, as you were just mentioning, was the Manscaped one, and I left it in my car on my trip. So today I got in my car, it was just all melted and just sad.
You're gonna have to get
and
another one.
I know.
Podcast code.
I do have another one somewhere. I think it must be my suitcase there. But no, I was so bummed because I knew it was in my car. I'm like, all right, my lips are feeling a little bit dry here. Just lubricate them. Completely melted, and I had so many more usages of it. So, R.I.P. in the chat for me and my poor little lip balm there. But Manscaped, fantastic. You're mentioning like the little holder / charger for your lawnmower 4.0. You just know where it is, like at all times, as you mentioned, like I do have a heavy duty razor, and sometimes you don't know where that is. If it's all tangled in the cords, it's like, fuck, this is just such a hassle. No, lawnmower 4.0 right there, easy to go. I got my little brush there, so after a nice trim you can just clean it off so you don't have your little pricklies all over your toothbrush holder and stuff like that. Like, it can just be clean, ready to go for next usage. And yeah, you mentioned the light bulb. That is such an underrated feature.
Game changer,
honestly.
yeah. Your power could be out, and let's say you got a big business meeting, and you want your pubes to be looking good because you're about to meet Kevin Feige. But if your power is out, what you gonna do? Well, this is the light bulb, LED, nice little bulb right there. Boom, 4K light,
waterproof too. Like,
yeah.
You could take this thing camping. It's pitch black. You're shaving your bush in the
That's what we all do
middle
when
of the
we're
night.
camping. We're
torrential
shaving our bush
downpour.
in the bush.
Absolutely. So yeah.
Manscaped.com, GVPOD, get 20% off and free worldwide shipping. So there you are. Let's talk about.
Okay, I have one more thing on the director thing.
Okay.
You just went all fun on Manscaped. So I was like, I'll just wait till after.
That's fair. Yes.
So I guess this is more directed to you, Travis, because you would probably be the most knowledgeable.
Assuming. Wow.
Yeah.
I am assuming for sure. If Jordan Peele was to direct some kind of superhero movie, what would you give to him?
He would never. I don't. He's been on record. He's not gonna, and I actually believe him. I think that he's said two things: that he doesn't want to direct anything with white stars, and I think not that you'd have to with Fantastic Four, but I think there's a chance that you'd at least have a mix of them. He wants to tell stories from black perspective, and two, he's just said that he doesn't like there's still lots of people that work in the MCU and they're like, oh, there's a sandbox and there's rules, and they go, okay, I can be creative within these rules. Jordan Peele's pretty much like, he's a guy that doesn't want any rules. Like, he just wants like, hey, this is the movie I'm making and this is what I am. So I'm not saying it could never happen, but I think it's like a 95% chance of never happening. I think it's very, very high, and I don't think it would be in the MCU. I think DC would be more likely for him, because I think they'd like the way Joker happened or the Batman, where it's like a director like, hey, go do something. I don't think Feige is at that time right now, which isn't a bad thing because it's like a TV show, right? But at the same time, for creative freedom, I don't think it's the place for him. I don't think Disney's the place for him.
Is there any black, I guess, superheroes, quote unquote, besides like Luke Cage?
Everybody thought like, oh, Blade's gonna do, but they got a director. Yeah, you got Luke Cage. You got Miles Morales and stuff like that. So there's definitely options. They could come to him and say, hey, we want you to do this.
And what about DC?
DC, you got Cyborg, you got one of the Flashes. But then again, you got...
Not like main star movie.
You got a Superman. You got actually two Supermans that are black, not Clark Kent. So there's a few people, again, in there that you could easily do. Or you just race swap them, but... So you could Static Shock, you could do something like that. So there's a few like heavy hitters or ones that haven't had movies yet that he could do. Again, it's just like, does he want to do the big superhero thing? I don't know if he does. So Jordan Peele's Blade, yeah, Static Shock is a big deal. Yeah, he is. Lots of people love Static Shock. Again, I know they're working on a movie right now, but the production's kind of been slow. I think Michael B. Jordan was producing it, and Michael B. Jordan might direct that because he's directing Creed 3. So like, there's options out there for him. I just don't know if he wants the big studio system breathing down his neck. I think he likes making what he's doing. I would almost see him doing his own like original superhero thing before he did like a Marvel DC thing, or like some very smaller comic that's like an independent or something like that, so yeah, it'd be great. But he's doing great stuff. He got Nope coming out, that looks fantastic. So he can
in another multiverse maybe. You
know what's happening in another multiverse?
What?
people are seeing the Marvels first, but they're not this time because the Marvels has switched. So right now we have Doctor Strange coming out this week. We have Thor: Love and Thunder next in July, and then in November, as of right now, we got Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and then next year it was supposed to go the Marvels in February, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania in March or something like that, or July. But either way, they switched places. This also came out Friday. They swapped places, so we're going to begin Ant-Man 3 in February, and then we're going to get the Marvels later on. It's interesting, and I'll pose S-Bubs' question here in a second because this is where his conspiracy theory came in about F4 and stuff like that. It is interesting for one, Ant-Man 3 I'm looking much more forward to because I liked Captain Marvel, but it has Kang, so that's what I'm really wanting to see. So the fact we get to see that a lot sooner than later, I'm happy about. The thing that's interesting is I thought it was a perfect, like, Miss Marvel is coming out in June, and that's like leading up to the Marvels. So I thought, oh, that's perfect. Miss Marvel comes out, people catch up on it, and then like right when enough people have seen it, the Marvels is out. Now people get a longer time to watch it, but it's just like a lot more like from June to March or whatever. Like it's a lot of a bigger jump, so that kind of surprised me. So I don't know why. S-Bubs, I'll read out his kind of. He had a conspiracy theory going on. And this is what I really like, too. He said, do you believe my conspiracy theory that Ant-Man was moved up to have Peyton Reed start working on Fantastic Four? And that's where if Peyton Reed was the guy, you could see it, because if the movie comes out in February, that means he's going to do his promotional tour a lot sooner. It's going to be done sooner. And then, okay, he finishes the movie. You do the promotion tour, then boom, go do F4. He said he wants to do it. Now, in the trades, it just said that this Ant-Man movie is further along than the Marvel, so that's why it got shifted. But again, it could be that could legitimately be the exact reason, or it could be for something else. So, Kirklin, what do you think about the swap, and what do you think about Espo's theory that could they have maybe moved it? Because this happened the same day where these movies moved, and then they're like, oh, we don't got a Fantastic Four director. So, do you think it's just timing? They're making moves, or do you think there is some little smoke or fire to the smoke? Fire smoke? Yeah.
There's smoke.
Fire
to
to
fire.
smoke the fire, yeah.
I first off, I love any conspiracy theories, so this is fun.
yeah.
I love this type of news. I live for this stuff. I like at first it's like, okay, this is like just because they're swapping, like I feel like there would have had to been like really big news about like certain, I don't know, actors, you know, maybe someone like that's in the DC, like just events like surrounding a character that would just really push a project around, or maybe you know, like they're just looking at their board of what's about to be coming out in this next phase, and it's just like, does it fit a little bit bigger here? So like I think initially I'm like, it must be a small enough change, whatever change they're doing to these two movies or two projects, that like it's small enough that it, like if they're releasing in the original order as opposed to the now order, which is what's coming out first now, the
Like
Marvels.
Ant-Man now.
Ant-Man.
Right. Jeez. Yeah. Too many names in my head. But so yeah, I feel like it shouldn't be a super big change, but I don't know. I like the quinky dink factor with having Peyton Reed. I think that's exciting because if it does lead to maybe, I don't know, in a couple of weeks it's announced that it is Peyton Reed, and they kind of knew about this for a while. Like they actually had Peyton Reed, like just kind of like
he's not attracted to Fantastic Four.
Like in those rooms, like actually like making it so a nice transition from whatever John Watts and the crew was kind of planning. Like it would just hand over nicely to Peyton Reed. I think that is really interesting, and if that is the case, I think that's I don't know. I think that's wild. Like maybe Peyton Reed had some ideas that the rest of the Marvel crew and Kevin Feige were just really liking over John Watts, and maybe it wasn't so much like, oh, John Watts is just tired and doesn't want to just take it. Yeah, he's tired. It's like, nah, maybe this is the best. And then, you know, we'll do like the political announcement, like we really liked working with him, and moving forward, we'd love to move him again. Like I think that's still fun and really fun theory, no matter what happens. And yeah, I think it's believable enough to really question it. And yeah, I smell some smoke, so who knows? Maybe that leads to fire, as you were trying to say. But
Jessica, what are you more excited for, Ant-Man 3 or so? The Marvels is technically Captain Marvel 2. It's just like a team up film with a bunch of other character's name, Marvel. But like, I think I know the answer. But what do you? Let's say you go to the theater and both these are playing. What are you buying a ticket to?
Definitely Ant-Man.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, without a doubt, 100%. So this is obviously his third one, Reed.
Yeah.
And do we have anything else planned or scheduled in the Ant-Man universe?
No, because like obviously 3 has to come on. They'll see how that does. I imagine Ant-Man or the Wasp or both will probably be on the next roster of Avengers. Like I think one of them will be a member. I think it will probably be Paul Rudd. I think Evangeline Lilly was supposed to be, but then she went a whole like "don't vax my body" tirade, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna go with Paul Rudd."
But that's a different director, right? Avengers.
Yeah, unless Peyton Reed's like, yeah, I'm not doing Fantastic Four. But yeah, there's no Avengers movie on the docket right now. So as of right now, Peyton Reed is doing Ant-Man 3, and what S-Bubs also pointed out in our Discord, John Watts had other projects planned. After Ant-Man 3, Peyton Reed has no projects listed coming up.
That's what I was going to say, because Spider-Man 4, if they're already talking about that, then he does have commitments. But if Ant-Man doesn't have a 4 and he's going to do some kind of Avengers, which has a different director, it does make sense that they would shift to him. He'll have a history of a successful trilogy the same way that
John Watts did.
Watts did, yeah. So honestly, it doesn't seem overly conspiracy theory-ist. It makes a lot of sense. It makes more sense than some conspiracy theories I've heard.
Yeah, so if you're right, S-Bubs, then it all makes sense. But now it comes down to, if it's him or if it's Krasinski, or watch it be someone completely different. And then S-Bubs, I feel like we kind of answered this in the form of that, because you also asked. Let's see here. Do you think Ant-Man and Captain Marvel switching will affect the overall MCU storyline in a major way? I don't think so, because I just don't one. Obviously, they're not connected, but I feel like we've talked about this before. Where there's the supernatural stuff going on, there's the space stuff going on, there's the multiverse stuff going on, then there's the street level stuff. I think that it will in a minor way. Maybe you could put one end credit scene versus there, but I think right now they haven't Feige just said they're doing this whole meeting. They're planning out the next 10 years in the MCU. I don't think they have their next huge enemy endgame Avengers movie yet. I think they're just doing new characters like Shang-Chi and Eternals, and just hey, we're going to make Marvel movies like we did. And there'll be Avengers 5, don't worry. But I think there's not a big grand, he has a plan, of course. But I mean, I don't think enough where when we went from, I don't know, Civil War to Endgame, I feel like you had to have a specific order of Captain Marvel has to go here, so when you get the end credits in Infinity War, you know what that is, and vice versa. I think they had to be specific, where right now they don't have to be specific, not yet at least. So,
yeah, I was kind of answering that earlier when I was just saying I feel like the swapping of the orders, if they are just willing to do this, it's not okay, we're hinting at the next big bad in this movie, so it has to come out that way. I think we're a little far off from that. But that being said, I still think by near the end of Phase 4, there'll just be those little hints and breadcrumbs to something bigger, because it was Guardians 1 when we had that end credit scene with Thanos shown, and even before that,
Avengers 1 is when we first saw Thanos. It ended with him just turn around and smile. And
right. Yeah. So I think so by the end of Phase 4, I think they'll be. Because even before Avengers, wasn't there some quick mentions to some sort of villain that fit that description, or am I just kind of fitting my own little
No, I think you're just Mandela affecting yourself. Because if you watch those first ones,
it's been so long.
If you watch that first phase of just Iron Man 2, Hulk, Thor, and Captain America, they really have nothing to do with each other. They have passing mentions, but there's not big. The only thing that was really connecting was Nick Fury. He would pop up in these movies and have a line and he's in. But then after that, I was oh well, you're in there, you're a cameo here. But it really was just they just met up because Loki decided to fuck up New York, and then they became a team, right? So that's why, and that's where it was okay, so you had the Cube was in Captain America, was in they took things from all those movies and put them in the Avengers, but it was very just loosely connected, which I think they're still doing right now, is loosely connected stuff. So I
think that's what's messing with my head, is that if you look back to Captain America First Avenger, just the fact that they have the Tesseract, and it's okay, eventually this Thanos is gonna use this to fuck shit up, so it must have all been timed at the same time. Yeah. So
I mean,
the beauty of the MCU, I guess.
Yep. We have end credit scenes that have no effect at all on
Oh yeah,
the
like Ant-Man
MCU's.
2, and playing the drums. Stupid end credit scene most all time.
Or
Keeps
there
Travis
was
up at night.
Howard the Duck or
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Why you let him lick you like that?
So I mean, it could just be that the end credit scenes right now, like you said, have no effect on anything, and they just splice them and
Yeah.
move one to the other one if they need to.
Or it just affects these characters. Like, it just affects Ant-Man. Like, nothing else. It's just like this end credit scene. What?
What's the one from Eternals? Like, what's the line that Blade?
Are you
It's
sure
been
you're ready
long
for
enough,
that,
yeah.
Dane? You sure you're ready for that, Dane? Have you seen Eternals yet, Jessica?
In the next Avengers movie, I'll be like, "Oh, remember that line that led exactly to this."
I don't
big
mind
bad."
spoiling this for you, Jess, because you won't care. You're
been long enough.
You're not going to
It's
see
been long enough.
Eternals, and if you do, it's disappointing. Blade is in the end credit scene for Eternals, but it's just his voice. The guy picks up a sword, and Mahershala Ali's like, "You sure you're ready for that, Dane?" And they cut to black. They don't even show Blade. It's just a voice. It's just a fucking voice, and like
80% of my theaters, like, is that
Yeah.
is that
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury? Yes.
Yeah, no one thought it was Ali, and me, who was like a big Ali fan, like, oh, it's clearly Blade. Everybody was like, who the fuck is that? Like, it was dumb. I'm hoping it was a COVID thing where just like they couldn't get him to film
Yeah.
anything, but like it was lame. So, yeah. Well, that's the
that's a
MCU.
big one.
Yeah, that's the big
Just wait till
one.
you see Pip the Troll.
Oh God, yeah. Eternals had some bad CGI, but yeah, I'm excited for Kang. Gonna be some good stuff. So.
Absolutely.
What I'm really excited for is this next ad break. So we're going to take that right now, and we're going to be back with some Aquaman news. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So we got two pieces of news here, and they all, I guess they both revolve around Amber Heard, but one specifically storyline, one specifically screen time. So I'm going to start with screen time, because obviously, like, unless you live on a rock or you don't care, I've tried to avoid it, but people keep sharing stuff. I do
hard.
appreciate the memes, because, yeah, they're always good. Is there something wrong with our society that we're memeing a trial? Absolutely, but that's probably an after 9 discussion. But either way, yes, so Amber Heard is in a trial with Johnny Depp right now, right? Okay, so that's all going on, bad stuff, blah, blah, blah. We're not getting into whose side's on what, but either way, obviously it's like brought up this whole, like, okay, what's going to happen with Aquaman? Like, oh, she's in this movie, much like the Flash situation, right? Where she's in this movie coming up, she's a co-lead. And this caused many scoopers to come out and be like, yeah, I've heard a range from, and this is about 3 scoopers, and they're all varying degrees, none of them being A-tier scoopers, so I will put that out there that something could have changed, but enough of them were kind of saying, like, yeah, like, people might be making a fuss, but she's really only in it like 10 to 15 minutes. And what's interesting is because this is something they would have done like pre-trial, and I always said before where I thought they were going to kill off Mara, because I still thought, in my opinion, where I was and I've said this before, where my feelings is on this case is that the second they got rid of Depp for Beasts, they should have got rid of her for this. They should have kept them both or got rid of them both, and they didn't. But at the same time, if she does only have 10 to 15 minutes, then they clearly were still like a little worried, and like, well, we're going to have her in here a little bit. And I don't know if that means she dies off. I don't know if that's just a little. We're going to talk about this other storyline that's a rumor going right now. But I think it's kind of smart if they did that in pre-event. So I know people like share the petition and whatnot, but I think that's the thing that they did have this rumor that's going around. I do believe this. I do believe that in the midst of it, they're like, okay, she'll be in the movie, because let's say this all goes her way, and it's like, oh well, we chose your side, Amber, and Aquaman 3, you'll have an even bigger role. But if it doesn't go her way and public, opinion is not good, even though I think by the time this movie comes out next year in March, not that people will forget about this, but people will move on, and there's tons of people that don't even know about this trial. Like, I guarantee you, there's tons of people not following this. If you don't have like a Twitter or TikTok, or you just check Facebook to see like pictures of your grandkids, you're not following this and stuff like that. So I don't think it's going to take down the movie, but I do believe this rumor that she was probably only in it to 10 to 15. And now, before I throw it to you guys, the other rumor that's going around is apparently Aquaman 2 is going to introduce the child of Mara and Aquaman, or I guess Arthur Curry. So that's where it's like, you could go multiple ways, where she's taking care of the kid. You could have it like, I don't think they want to fridge her, but you could have where she passes away in childbirth. You can have it where that kid gets kidnapped, and that's why she's like staying in Atlantis, and Arthur has to go get the kid. So to me, when I heard these rumors of, hey, she only has 10 to 15 minutes, and then the next week it was like, oh yeah, and there's rumors about a baby, I was like, oh, this makes a lot of sense, because I feel like there's already things lining up. So What do you feel, Jessica, about not the whole situation? I don't need the diatribe on the trials of Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, but do you think you believe this stuff that she's maybe gonna have a reduced role, and Warner Brothers maybe in advance was like, let's play it safe and make a smaller screen time this go around?
So I guess I have a 2-part question for this.
Mm-hmm. You get one. No, I'm joking.
Ooh.
Yeah, the second
Have
one
to
you need to join
pick?
Patreon. Yeah, you got to join Patreon. You got to join the tiers.
I'll just get Carl to send it to you.
That's true. Wake him up right now.
So my first one, when all this happened, when they fired Johnny, how far into recording this movie were they? Like could
Fantastic
they
Beasts or Aquaman?
No.
Like,
Aquaman.
I think they did that after. It wasn't in the middle. I think Fantastic Beasts was filming. They fired Johnny, and then let's say a couple months later is when they started to shoot Aquaman. So it was enough time after.
Okay. So that's okay. No comment on that.
Okay.
And then the other thing, I don't remember how Aquaman 1 kind of ended.
They're in love.
Like they're in love.
There's a great
But-
scene where they're kissing, and all these people are dying around them, but they don't care because they're just making love.
And they're like standing on a whale or a boat or something, right?
No,
that right?
but that's okay. They're just in the water. They're just in the water, filling their nostrils with the ocean sea water. You know, she's like, "You're not manscaped," and that's the end of the movie.
But there's not anything that really forces or she needs to be there for, right? There's no loose ends in
Maybe
that sense.
someone's gotta give birth.
She's gonna be the queen technically if they got like married and everything like that. And I will say, I forgot to say this, but I agree 100% with Superbad. Mike says feels too soon for a baby storyline. They barely were a couple in the first movie. 100%. When I read that, I was like, wow, we're going with the baby route, but easily could do a time jump, right? It ended with them together. They jump because Aquaman, that actual, what was that? Did that come out 20? Oh God, when did Aquaman come out? Was it 2018 or
2018.
2018. So it's been 4 years. So like, just even in real life, like you could have this couple end, and then 4 years later, it'd be realistic that they're maybe talking about having a kid. So, and in the movie world, they could jump even further, right? They'd be, it's been a decade since Mirror, and then so I do feel like for a sequel, it is way too soon. But I think the way they're gonna work, it could they'll work it to make sense. I don't think it'll be like, oh, and after that, like it's an accident. They're like, oh, we gotta get married. Like they play up that. It's like Aquaman and Mirror have this like really bitter relationship. She's like, I knew I shouldn't have fucked this fish man and everything.
Do you think that we will get, so if everything goes well and we get, Amber Heard is found not guilty again and her reputation isn't destroyed, do you think we'll get a director's cut where she has, 50 minutes of screen time or whatever it is?
Maybe like a 5 or 10, maybe the most 15, but I think the plot is probably in a way where she's not in the main action, where she doesn't have to be. I think she's just back at Atlantis. Because the same thing, let's say it is Arthur on an adventure and there's a kid at Atlantis. Maybe it's just that. Maybe she's like, I'm going to stay back, watch this kid so nothing bad happens to him, and we're off. Like that's an easy storyline. And yeah, you could add deleted scenes here and there, but I don't think I think they planned it for her to have a smaller role, in my opinion.
I don't remember the original questions that we had here.
You asked the firing, and then the second one was where did they end off in the first one, which I said they were like a couple, and it seemed like they were going to be together. So.
But what was your original question, to which I just asked more questions?
Oh, I think you already answered. If you I think it was just originally, would you believe that that screen time seems realistic, maybe? And even then, how do you feel about a baby storyline, Aquaman? Because I'm sure you don't remember Aquaman 1 much, but how do you feel about? Because I feel like it happened in Endgame, but I feel like we don't have too many superhero baby storylines, right? Because lots of times that kind of not kneecaps characters, but it does kind of limit some things. So how would you feel about a baby being introduced?
Well, this is DCU, right?
Yeah.
I mean, their movies are always just kind of clusterfucks, right?
Uh-oh.
To put it bluntly, so a baby doesn't seem that far out of the realm for them.
I think they used to be clusterfucks. Aquaman was great. Birds of Prey was great. Aquaman or Shazam was good. Wonder Woman was.
It's funny because I feel like the last time I remember like a superhero baby being like a big part of maybe not a big part of the story, but at least a part of the story was the Superman Returns dude.
Brandon Ralph.
Yeah, Brandon Ralph.
Yeah, when he left his kid. Fuck.
Very bizarre. But it's funny that it's DC again, just sticking there.
Either way, I can see it happening, and I think it's a logical, like you said, enough reason to have Amber not there, whether it's killing her off or having her do something. And it's probably also, if that is the case, setting it up for future movies. Instead of going with Amber, if things go south, they can partner him with his kid as his partner in crime or protege or whatever.
Well, and the good thing now is after they shuffle the movie, the next movie after Aquaman is Flash, which they're doing a reset of the universe. So easily you could come back to Aquaman 3 where, oh, look, Mira's changed a little bit, and then they move forward. You know, like you can literally recast her without it being a big deal because, like, oh, well, he met a different Mira somewhere else. Or it's just like, look, this time travel thing really changed how I look, you know? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. So, Kirklin, thoughts?
Good old Flashpoint.
Flashpoint. It's gonna save the DCU.
Yeah, I really feel like her screen time is just wrapped around like this child plot line that's developing. And like, you know, if we lived in a world that none of this drama was going on behind the scenes, like maybe you don't even have that in this movie. Like maybe you get there by, I'm assuming it's gonna do really well numbers wise. The first one was $1 billion movie. I feel like people really love Jason Momoa and are just vibing with this new version of the character that is Aquaman. So I think we will get a third eventually, and maybe that's where you like eventually have like, you know, like because at the end of the first movie, he's the king, or like whatever that role is for Jason Momoa's Aquaman. And then the second one, it's like really establishing like, okay, you can kind of defend his realm. That's where I imagine it's gonna happen. And then in the third one, it's like, you basically have Simba coming in, you know, like the new Aquaman to just like have, maybe not the new Aquaman, but like just have this like child plot line. I feel like, I feel like the air is Slytherin. But I feel like right now it just seems a little rushed, especially with just like how that first one ended. So me looking at it on paper, it's like, okay, they're just speeding things up on their timeline that they want to do stuff, and they just want to clean their hands with the character that is Amber Heard. I really think she is gonna die or something. And I feel like it's easy enough to even write that character off. Like you mentioned
They Green Knight her. They just take the baby and walk away.
You mentioned like dying in childbirth or something. Like there's a million different ways that she could die off. Like just that makes sense on screen. So it's not like they would have just been like somehow. What's her character's name? Mara. Like somehow Mara died, and like you just fast forward. We better not fucking get like their romancing.
Somehow Palpatine routine.
Yeah, exactly. We better not get like their romancing, and then it's just like 5 years later. It's just like
I sure miss your mother, kid.
Like off screen, like death. Yeah, they don't even like show anything about her. Yeah. I hope. Well, it could happen. I mostly just don't want to see another like 5 years later, because that's just kind of been happening a lot.
Oh,
lately,
that could easily happen. I think you're at least
very much good.
Whether they cut her, whether she was cut from the movie or she's like cleared and she's like in the next 5. I think you're getting a 5 years later with Aquaman if this kid. It's like, because I don't know, like maybe they'll have it at baby, but I feel like the kid might be moving around a little bit, like have his sea legs and stuff like that. So
fair enough.
What is coming out around the same time?
In March next year, 2023.
Fantastic
when
Four.
Yeah, and Fantastic Beasts 4. It's really confusing. Let's take a look here. Let's get in the time machine. So March, you got you have Dungeons and Dragons. That's the new movie coming out. Honor Among Thieves. And then the week before that, you have Disney's reboot of The Haunted Mansion. And then you have Aquaman, and then you got John Wick Chapter 4 and Scream sequel. So honestly, that's definitely the biggest movie that month, because John Wick and Scream, those are rated R, so that's a different audience. Dungeons and Dragons, I don't have much faith in that. And Haunted Mansion's a kids movie. So Aquaman's kind of running game. And then even in April, you got the biggest movie in April is that Super Mario Bros. Movie. And the next of them, I'm sure there's some other movies in here, but there's no other big geek movies. So May is when Guardians 3 comes out. So it kind of has March and April to run game, it looks like, for the most part. It doesn't look like anything's in the way.
So between, there is that petition. It's over 3 million now, but it kind of sounds like by the time this trial ends, we're going to have months at a time. It's got no competition.
Someone else
things will be kind of yeah, it'll be under the rug by
Yeah.
then. You know, people have forgotten about it. So, you know, I could see it still doing okay if it was coming out in, you know, next month.
Yeah.
But I think there'll be enough time and not enough competition that it actually will probably still do okay.
Yeah, plus she's probably just hoping Ezra beats up some more people in Hawaii, you know, because then all the heat goes off her onto him, you know, like look at
If
this
you're going
guy.
off like probability, it's probably pretty likely it'll happen.
Pretty likely. Well, that's Aquaman. Or anything else on Aquaman 2 before we move on? Storyline, Amber Heard, baby.
Willem
Done
Dafoe
once.
back. More Dafoe. Let's go.
I hope he's back.
Or did
with
he
a long-
die? I don't even remember.
No, he didn't
like
die.
Okay,
No.
good. Keep him around.
He's still around. He's still around. You know what's still around? Nothing. I have no transition for this. But you know what's coming around is Don't Worry, Darling in September.
Hell yeah.
Which I thought was a lot sooner because I was sad because we got this trailer. But we got this trailer. This is directed by Olivia Wilde, obviously an actress that's been around for many years, some good performances. But then she directed oh my
Booksmart.
god. Booksmart, thank you very much, Kirklin. A very like breakout hit. Very much like, yeah, lots of people describe it as like what is it?
Super bad.
Super bad for girls, you know, stuff
Yeah.
like that, or super bad with like a female gaze. But still, it is like that happened, and then so they revealed this film at CinemaCon, which again, I'm not sure if anyone's seen that photo or the video that went around today of her being served her papers during the presentation. What a fucking pro she is! Like I knew she got served there, but I didn't know it was during the actual presentation. My God,
That's
and
wild.
And CinemaCon, that's wild. Hashtag good pun. But like they gotta get some better
Unintended.
security going on. Unintended, sure. That's what Sudeikis said too, Kirkland. Oh, it was unintended. I didn't mean it. But anyway, so. She did this movie, and I was very surprised because what threw me off is, so we had talked about this before on the 2020 preview. This is, okay, now we can let Jessica know, Florence Pugh, you know, maybe the greatest actress. To me, the two greatest actors right now are her and Lupita. I always go back and forth. You saw her in Black Widow. Did you ever see Midsommar, Jessica?
Yes.
Yeah, so she's the main lead in that, and she's in Little Women. She's in great. She's just like a powerhouse and everything like that. So the second
Fighting with
that
family.
yeah, Fighting with Family, yeah. But I think after Black Widow is when we created the Pugh Boys, and it's just a fan club for Florence Pugh because she's amazing, she's great, all this great jazz. So she's in this, Harry Styles, Chris Pine. I actually didn't know Olivia Wilde was actually in it as
No.
well. Yeah, so she's in it. Now what, and I'm going to throw to you guys here in a second, but what threw me off was, so we had seen like snippets of her and Harry Styles like driving cars and making out. So I'm like, okay, she's doing like some drama romance, like that's a what would it be called? The period piece, because I saw outfits and everything. So I thought, okay, this seems like a logical step. And then last week at CinemaCon, they had seen this trailer, but we didn't get it. But she had described it as like Inception and The Truman Show and Matrix, and I was like, wait a fucking like that doesn't make any sense from what I'm thinking. And then we get this trailer, and this makes all the sense of the world. And I will break down more specifics in a second, but this is the same effect that Last Night in Soho did last year. Now, I was already excited for this one more than Soho last year, but Soho, when I saw the trailer, I was like, boom, that's climbed up to one of, if not my most anticipated movies. That's what this did right here, because it just looks fantastic. But what I love is I have like some theories or some thoughts about like certain scenes, but I really have no fucking clue what's going on. I can't remember what it's called. Like I think it's the Valley Project or the Valley First Project. And it's a bunch of men. They go off in the daytime. Their wives don't know where they go, and they're like, "Where do they go? What do they do?" And there's something suspicious going on. I don't know. So I have more to say. But Kirk and Patzer, what do you think about this trailer? It's come out in September. Is this what you're expecting when you'd heard about this movie? Because like I said, for me, I was thrown off guard. I was not expecting a trippy, maybe sci-fi, almost Get Out-ish, like Black Mirror sort of episode, which that's what this is looking like.
Yeah, 100%. Same thing. I like when we went over the movie preview. It's like, okay, Florence Pugh, Harry Styles. Then I think I don't know how long ago it was, but they had like that first image of just the two of them like embracing. It might have even been like Florence Pugh like just posted a photo or something about it. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be interesting. Two very attractive people on screen together, and I don't care what it is. It's Florence Pugh, so I'm gonna be watching it. And yeah, I was very much just expecting some sort of artsy film from like the outfit. I actually didn't even know it was Olivia Wilde till this trailer. Maybe we talked about it at like the preview, but I just completely went over my head. But nonetheless, I was actually comparing it to when I was like first hearing about Last Night in Soho, because it's like, okay, this is gonna be just like a really interesting artsy film that I'm just gonna be in on it, and like maybe it's not my main genre, but I think I'll be able to appreciate it for just, you know, like the film, just the film aspects of it, like really appreciate just maybe cinematography or the outfits and just the acting alone. Not my main genre, but then when we got this trailer, and this is where I'm comparing it to Last Night in Soho, it's just like I thought I was in on like one category of like, okay, artsy film, but then it just took a twist, and I was just not. I was completely blown away by it. That one, I had that thought in the movie theater, like when it started to get freaky. I was like, what am I in on? Like, this is a wild ride. But this, you know, happened in the trailer where it's like, okay, this is completely different than what I was expecting. Yeah, you brought up like Black Mirror. That there was many moments where I didn't know if I was like in an Ari Aster movie again. Like there's a very specific scene. I know I saw you tweet about it or react or something on Twitter. It's just like there's a scene. It literally looks like the exact same scene from Midsommar. When if you haven't seen Midsommar, I don't want to spoil it because I just love that movie so much.
There's just a scene in Midsommar where Florence Pugh is looking up and something bad's about to happen. It's the same thing here. It's like
It's
the
the same
exact
thing.
same shot, just like it's like a different
attire.
age. Yeah, exactly. But they just ripped it and took it. Yeah.
100%. But honestly, everything about this trailer, I was really, really pumped on because, as I was saying, like I would have seen it all, like anyways. Just
Yeah.
Florence Pugh alongside Harry Styles and the other actors. Like I really, really like to see them in there. We have Gemma Chan, who was I didn't really care for her character in Eternals, but still, I feel like they're like just her as an actress, like in the role. I was still kind of happy to see her on screen, so I am pumped to see her in something different. I like that actress. We have Chris Pine in here, Olivia Wilde. Yeah, that was. I did not realize that she was going to be acting in this, let alone directing. So that was a big surprise. And just like all the players, I think it's going to be a fun cast to just kind of go on this mystery with them and just have like these players on. I'm really, really excited for this film. And yeah, just like feels of like a Jordan Peele type movie. It's like, I don't even really know what's gonna be going on. I don't know who's gonna be the good guys, bad guys. Maybe some bad guys with Chris Pine's character.
And that's why like the trailer doesn't really give you any hint of what the mystery may be. And it
No.
might be. I know Taylor. I think he chose his like to not watch anymore. He didn't actually watch a single
Trailers.
Nope trailer, but I think this might be my card
impressive.
because I don't want them to show anything because they don't really. They just hint that something's going on, but they don't even give you anything of what's going on other than it's male driven. That's about it, you know.
I think we had that same rule with Last Night in Soho, so it's funny I was comparing
Yes.
it
Yeah.
where we saw like that first trailer, didn't want to watch any more about it, but yeah, like one last thing I'll say on before I pass it along was I really like just the idea of like they have this like almost like Dharma initiative. If you've seen The Lost, like that same sort of thing where these people are here and like the males looks like they're the workers and they just have this little like fake like living arrangement and then just during the day go do this. It very much reminds me of like when Area 51 was kind of like popping off and like there would just be people that like would just like live in this little thing and then during the day they would go off and do the work, but you like can't really like ask them what they're doing there. I'm so excited to find out what the mysteries are around this film, but with that being said, I'll pass it along to the next member.
So I had not heard of this movie, had no idea anything about it, just was told I needed to watch the trailer for the cast, so that's what I did. And it definitely, you know, when it first started, was like, why am I watching this? Like, what does this have to do with the GeekVerse? But then as it went on, it was just slowly kind of got more and more fever dream. It's like, whoa, okay, wait, what's going on? And it definitely, yeah, the same thing, you know, the wanting to avoid trailers. You know, I did read the description, which doesn't really give out much more than what you see. But other than that, I don't plan on watching anything else for it. I think this one is a go in blind and that's where you're going to get the best results. I haven't watched anything for Nope. I only watched the one trailer for Soho. It's just the way to go when you have, you know, these psychological thriller type movies. Yeah, I don't necessarily have much more to add that hasn't been said. I think it's got a nice cast. I think that the trailer does a good job of kind of making you wonder what that mystery is. I think it'll be fun having it in, the 1950s, that kind of period piece. It changes the dynamic, right? Without technology and, the stay-at-home housewife was a lot more normal back then. So you can kind of play into those gender roles. Overall, I mean, I would like to say I would see this in theaters, but I don't know that that'll ever happen for me for the next couple of years.
You'll see it at some point, streaming,
Yeah,
VOD.
not opening night, not September 23rd.
September 22nd, we'll be there. But yeah, no, the only other things I have to shout is that, like, one, which they've really, like Kirklin said, he said in a nice way, the first image we saw was Harry Styles and her embracing. But, there's multiple of just, like, watermelon sugar shots. But that's the thing where, like, they're using sex a lot in this trailer. So there's a few things I want to point out. One, I really want to know the rating of this movie, because I hope it's R. I'm not saying because we need to see some...
I think
It is R, that from what I've seen on IMDb and Wikipedia.
Don't trust IMDb or Wikipedia. They can be changed. I think it is R. I think that's a goal, but until we get closer, it's not going to be officially rated. So I think it will be. I just wonder with the stars, if like, we could get this down to PG-13 edit around. But I think it will be R. Her last movie was R. So I just want that confirm when we get closer. But I think what's interesting is, like, with the sexual stuff is, like, that first embrace they showed us months ago, and with this one's a different perspective because it's them embracing, but then they cut to scene and it's Chris Pine, like, watching them, and that's what's like, okay, what's going on? And what I like about this is it's so funny. We were having this conversation the other day because we were talking about the percentage of this is gonna get X-rated, but this is in the meme chat of the men orgasm rate to the female orgasm rate, right? And me and Taylor were getting really philosophical and talking about, well, it's the way we're programmed as men. Like, you watch porn, you watch sex scenes and movies for the past, like, 30, 50 years, it's always from the men's point of view. It's always like the male gaze, right? Where it's like the female is the object, just there for pleasure. It's not really about like what's happening to her. Where to me, all the sex scenes are very about Florence Pugh, like being pleasured and stuff like that. Like, it's all her point of view, where Harry Styles just looks like he's that thing. So one, that's clear because Olivia Wilde's a woman, and that's why you need more diverse people directing films, because you can get the different points of view and not just like the man point of view. Two, men out there, make sure your women are getting their business done and start, having a good time and, I don't know, eating lunch the right way. Just we're in the fucking 2020s now, let's get to it. Let's bump those percentages up, stop being a fucking loser and everything. Three, I think the same way in horror movies where lots of time there's like the evil female and they use sex against a male to like distract them or to do things. I feel like that's what Harry Styles is kind of doing in this trailer. Like, they're showing that they're at odds, but then they're constantly getting it on. So either that's all in the beginning of the film, or what I think could happen is much like happened in the last season of You season 3, where they both kind of use sex as a weapon against each other, like distract them or deter them from things. And I feel like that's what Harry Styles is doing to Florence Pugh. So it's kind of that fun role reversal of usually that's the guy being tricked by, the pretty girl who will like sleep with me, where this is almost that reverse, where it's like this boyish charm guy who can like smooth talk her. I don't know why Chris Pine is watching them fuck. That's going to be a whole different scenario. I don't know if they're, especially at the beginning when they have the glasses on their head, I don't know if it's a swinging club scenario, what it may be, but so that's, I think, going to be very interesting. I like that dynamic. So my last point too about this trailer is I honestly forgot Chris Pine was in this movie. So when I see him, like, okay, great. Chris Pine every year is getting better and better. When they showed he's going to be the antagonist, man, I love Florence Pugh, but I cannot fucking wait to see Chris Pine. Not only is he the antagonist, he looks like he's chewing the scenery antagonist. Mm-hmm. Like, he's screaming, he's loud, he looks like he's having a good time. And I don't know, like, it's definitely... Oh, he did. Chat will let me know. He did a movie with Ben Foster. It was a Western movie with Jeff Bridges. Everyone really loved it. I liked it enough. It's a Western. He was a bank robber. But even then, he's like an antagonist. But it's not like a bad... Like, it's not like I'm a piece of shit. I can't remember the last time Chris Pine played, like, the villain bad guy.
He's just such a nice guy. Like on screen. Like, yes. It's so easy to just put him in that role. He's
very charismatic and stuff. But at the same time, I think he can take that charisma and change it to be a complete asshole and a complete, like, vile person. And that's why I love that scene where he's Chris Pine as Matt Reeves when he saw what was happening on the Batmobile. Yeah, that's a good call, Bubs. But I'm very curious to see what he's going to do. And I really love that scene when she's calling him out and he's like, oh no, let her speak. I'm interested where this conversation goes. At that moment, you're like, nope, no, Florence, don't keep talking. It's gonna go bad for
Yeah.
you, you know. So I think he's gonna be very good at this villainous role because, like I said, I don't think we've seen him do it much. And Chris Pine, he's one of those guys. He's much like Brad Pitt years ago because he's so good looking. People write off of like how good of an actor he is, but man, he's a talented guy, and I can't wait to see what he does with this role. I think he's just gonna chew it up. So
Absolutely, yeah. It's funny. He like initially when he was just being that really charismatic, like orienter type person, like it seemed like he was kind of, welcoming. I don't even know what he was doing specifically, but he was just like addressing the whole group, and
yeah,
he like the charisma that he was showing. It reminded me of not a good movie, Wonder Woman 1984, but like
Yes.
Pedro Pascal's role in that, where like he was really good and very charismatic, and I loved his role in that movie. There was moments where he definitely reminded me of a character like that, where like okay, I can like. Good public speaker. I feel like maybe I can trust this guy like on the surface, but then when that scene that you just mentioned when he's like, no, I want to know what she has to say here. Like, it's almost like a Hans Landa like type of like fear
Yeah.
that he's exuding there, because he's not like threatening anyone with like physical abuse or anything, but like
he's
he
making
said
you make the
so-
mistake.
yeah, like it's just it's such like a power move in that situation, and I'm like scared for Florence. And as I just said, like it's not even like he has a blade to her neck or anything. Like just this presence that he has, and it shows for like the males in that dinner scene too. Like they just kind of see him as like, oh god, like I don't know, like the boss, or lack of a better term there, but like
Oh, yeah.
that type of role. And I don't think I've even seen Chris Pine play a villain other than maybe. I know he was in like Smoking Aces. Was he like a villain type character in that
He's a
movie?
minor character. He's like a bad
Yeah.
guy, but minor character. The movie I was thinking was Hell or High Water, by the way,
Hell or High
people.
Water.
That's the one. And then Maddie asked two things. He said, also, if you've seen Booksmart, what were your thoughts on that? And then he also said, I was absolutely blown away by the trailer. Cannot wait. Hashtag Pew Boys Unite. Where does Don't Worry Darling rank on your most anticipated list currently? So one, has anyone seen Booksmart? I really enjoyed it, really like it. I thought it was one of those where it's like I came out, yeah, it does compare that like the female Superbad, but it's like, okay, Olivia Wilde, she has my interest in what she does next, and that's the good thing. I can watch movies and like them, but it was good to great enough where it's like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I see what she does next. And now with this, it looks like she's just completely leveled up to like a new territory. So
Yeah, I've seen Booksmart. It's funny, that movie was one where like I think it was like Shay's friend or something like recommended it to me, and just for like the type of movies that they were interested in, it's like okay, well, whatever. I usually focus all my attention on like Marvel type movies, but we'll give it a shot one of these nights. And then I put it on, and definitely initially just like okay, there's just like a female Superbad. Nothing wrong with that. I love Superbad, but I was pleasantly surprised about that movie. I really like the leads in it, and then when the movie was over, that's when I realized it was Olivia Wilde, and it was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then comparing it to Superbad, you have Jonah Hill in there, and I believe it's his sister who's like one
Jonah
of the
Hill's
female
sister
leads.
she's female lead.
Beanie Feldstein. I hope I'm saying her name right, but she was really good in it too. But so that movie was really good. And then I think what blew me away about this one, and knowing that it was Olivia Wilde, is that it's just such a different type of movie.
Yeah.
like that one's
it's not what
like,
I was expecting next from her,
No, 100% not.
In the best way possible. I don't mean
Yeah.
that as a bad thing. I was just, like I said, I thought, it's going to be a drama,
Yeah, no-
like whatever. Not flopping like Jordan Peele looking movie,
No, exactly. Because in Booksmart, like the comedy was really good. So it's like, okay, this is kind of like Olivia Wilde's like movies she's gonna be putting out is just like these type of comedies, maybe female coming of age type movies. But this is such a wild turn, and all for the best reasons. So I'm very, very excited for it. For where it is on my most anticipated list.
Oh, well, you didn't let Jessica go. That's all right.
Well, you asked me two questions. Am I supposed?
Yeah,
to
but
just
I didn't
half
answer. I
and
said
then-
start with the first question, but it's fine because Jessica, you
Christ.
hadn't seen Booksmart, correct?
I have not.
There you go. So now you can
Jessica,
continue.
you can
Yeah.
answer the second question.
Oh, you bastard.
I'll let Travis answer the first question before we move on to the second, but I do want to just throw out that Chris Pine is in Dungeons and Dragons, so a little more competition for
Oh, he is.
He's gonna be all over next year and this year.
Aquaman might not do as well as they thought.
Oh no, Chris Pine, what are you doing? What's your agent doing to you?
What's wrong with Dungeons and Dragons, man? Could
What do
be
you
a
mean what's
sleeper
wrong
hit.
with Dungeon Drag? It's not gonna be I hope. I just don't. I don't think so. It's gonna be the same thing. Everyone talked to me about Warcraft and how that was gonna be such a massive fucking movie. And
Oof. We don't say
Yeah.
that name.
I already said that about the whatever. For people, if you don't use this, I use firstshowing.net. That's the best website to like show you what's coming up. Like for May, I got Doctor Strange. I'm excited for that. June, I got Lightyear and The Black Phone, which is my two big ones. I'm just quickly throwing some out to see like where it ranks. I got Nope and Thor coming out in July. Bullet Train. August, really nothing. September, that's when this movie comes out. October, the new Halloween comes out. Black Adam, Black Panther. No, honestly, this is like as of right now, it's. I think Doctor Strange maybe is number one right now. That's this week. So after that, this probably could be number one. Honestly, the next one also would be Amsterdam. They renamed that Cadbury Glass movie, Kirklin. That's with Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, John D. Washington. That's David O. Russell. Yeah, he's a fucking asshole in real life, unfortunately, but he makes good movies. So I probably it's definitely in the top three. Might be number one. I don't know if I'd be over Strange just because I'm very curious to see Strange, but it's in the top three for me right now because the rest of comic movies I'm looking forward to. But this just looks so so unique. Nope's coming out. That's gonna be great, I think, or at least be interesting. So top three for me right now.
Yeah, it's really tough because I feel like just my most anticipated is just so like what's ahead of me. Like we got Multiverse of Madness right away. We got Thor: Love and Thunder coming around the corner. So very very excited for those ones. But it's tough to just say like, okay, this is a missable movie? Absolutely not for me. I got to see this right away. So I definitely top five, like easy, and that's without me like really assessing, spending a lot of time on my list. I'd say there, but super super pumped. But it's just such a great year, like in general. Like if you talk to Dylan, like just video game wise, this year has been so good. But like for movies, we have Batman already, Multiverse of Madness coming out, Everything Everywhere All at Once. If you haven't seen that, go see that movie. It's so fucking fantastic. The Northman, like just 2022, man, such a great year for film. So I'm very 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 excited for this movie. But as of right now, I'd say easy top five.
I'll say it for Taylor. Is it going to compare to Jurassic World though?
Absolutely, yes. Jurassic World is not even my top 10 for anticipated.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
Same
that's no. It's like it maybe top 20, and that's just because I want to see those OG people back, not because like I think the movie's gonna be good. So because you still got Lightyear coming out, like you still got some other good bangers.
I didn't buy my ticket for Jurassic World. I'm still scarred about getting. Oh my god, I gotta watch this movie to review it.
You still got Top Gun. Like I'm probably more excited for the Elvis movie than I am for Jurassic World. Like I'm not even joking. Like I want to. Like it's Baz Luhrmann. So yeah, I don't have much excitement for Jurassic World.
Sorry, that's a completely different topic. I don't even think it's in my top 5.
Wow.
This movie?
Yeah.
Jurassic World. Are we talking about Jurassic World?
Well, Jurassic World too.
Okay, good.
It's probably in my top 10, but I definitely, with the limited amount that I get to watch movies, there's almost always something else coming out that I will want to watch, it looks like. As we get closer to it and some of these heavy hitters have already come out, that'll probably change once Thor's come out, once Nope's been out, once Wakanda Forever's been played, the new Shazam. If we actually get Avatar, if that comes out, there's
Puss in
a
Boots,
lot of
The Last Wish. Don't forget about that one.
Puss in Boots, Last Wish. Yep.
and Lightyear for Travis.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's not even in my.
Do you have Avatar in your top 5 or 10 though? Avatar 2?
No, but I'm just saying
Way of
it's a big
Water,
heavy
bro.
hitter.
That's what it's
The
called.
Way of Water.
Way of Water.
Avatar, The Way of Water.
But if in January, once all these huge movies
In
have come out.
January? So you mean next year?
2023
It's
is in
on
your top
most
5 list.
anticipated-
Oh wait, it comes out in September.
Yeah.
Never mind, and I'm talking about movies all the way to December. Actually, okay, so that might change things a bit because then there's only 2 or 3 other movies that come out. So yeah, I'd put in top 5, I guess then.
There you go. Olivia Wilde doing some good work, so. We're going to take our last ad break and we're going to talk about one of Jessica's favorite topics, Star Wars and Emperor Palpatine. So we'll be right back. And we're back. So yes, I want to bring this up because Jessica, I'll ask you one thing about Star Wars. I know you won't have much to add to it, but this is our last topic. But Ian McDermott said that he was doing some sort of interview at some sort of convention. Or long story short, he just said like his presence would be felt in an upcoming Disney Plus show. He didn't say where, of course, and he even kind of hinted like, oh, it might not be his body, but it could be like a voice, could be like a hologram or something like that. Kirk and Patzer, one. Are you wanting more Palpatine to be seen live action, animated, wherever? And two, where do you think it could happen? Do you think it's in something that's been, announced? Do you think somehow, as SBUB says, somehow Palpatine has returned again? Do you think it's something current? Do you think it's something secretive? Where are you on the Palpatine of it all?
Yeah, I think, and like right off the hop, if it's like in like the continuous timeline for like Mando and stuff like that, like stuff that's after just the events of like the Palpatine era movies, I think I'd be very disappointed.
Well, we got the Rise of Skywalker though. That's after the Palpatine era, and they brought him back, right?
Oh, I know. That's what I mean. Like if this just
you'd be
keeps
disappointed
happening
again. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because initially, I think I was just fine with it. The more, it's the same thing. I think that you said, Travis. Like the more you watch Return of Skywalker, it's tough. It's tough to like really defend it. I think
Rise
the
of
more I watch it,
Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker.
I'm
See,
still waiting
can't
for the
even say
Return of Skywalker.
name. I'm not waiting for the Return of Palpatine. But if it's something, to fill in the gaps, not everybody loves like stuff that's not even necessarily a prequel, but like just in between a timeline that we've already seen. I think I'd be totally fine with that. And even if it is like again, like leading, like in that I don't know what the best word to use here, but just in that continuation of the story of like Rey's journey and just in like, what would you call it? The present of where we are in the Star Wars saga. I think if it's just like his lessons and like what his message of being like a Sith Lord, and just what he brought to being like the master of the Sith, like just those types of lessons, like if that's the type of presence that he says he's mentioning, not just like I'm back again and I have metal legs now and I'm fucking shredded and I'm just ready to be. Oh yeah, absolutely, robot. Got the same voice, but he's just like looking like Yahya Toure Abdul. Yahya
Abdul Mateen II. I don't know who Toure is, but
I mixed
just
up
call him
soccer players
Yahya.
now. Yeah. The body of Yahya.
Fuck.
So can he not just like come back as a Force ghost and that's that?
All right. Can I stop you both here? Can I stop you both
Sure.
here? I think you're both really. If people don't know, Esposo's comment, ripped like an MMA fighter. That's how they
Exactly.
describe the Joker in the Suicide Squad script.
That's kind of how you describe him.
Ripped like
That's how Ian
Palpatine
McDermott was
ripped like
describing
an MMA
himself.
fighter. So I think you're overthinking this. Later on this month, we have a show called Obi-Wan coming out. I think he will simply just be in that. It's in the time period where that character is
Perfect.
alive. It's in the time period where that character is mentoring Vader, and he would be saying, hey, you gotta go fucking kill Obi-Wan. He's gonna ruin everything. He's gonna ruin your shit. He turned Padme against you. Like, I think it's that. I think it's something in there. I don't think, no, he's not coming back again. I think it was already... And this is the thing. Rise Skywalker, I have tons of problems with. His performance was not one of them, so I'm always down for more Ian McDermott, especially while we have him around. Like, let's get him to do this. I don't care if it's hologram or voice, and it could be an animated show, but I don't think it's anything. One, we haven't got anything in the current timeline with anything Rey, Finn, or Poe announced, so I don't think you got to worry about that. They've just forgotten about those characters in that timeline. Everything's in the past or the dark time, so I think it's simply just going to appear somewhere. I know people also thought like Andor. I don't see that. You have Bad Batch coming up. You have other clone or animated stuff. So I could see those, but I think Obi-Wan is the place because I feel like if Darth Vader, they've already said Darth Vader and Obi-Wan are going to fight. So if Darth Vader finds out that Obi-Wan is alive, I feel like he's going to want to speak to his master on what should I do about this particular situation. It's just going to be like, you should kill him. And that's about it. That's where I think you're going to get Kirklin. I think you're just going to have him.
Good.
Yes.
I'm glad
I
you.
could be wrong, and maybe they announced the
life
Palpatine show
preserver.
where he comes back and kills Rey, and he's like, "I am the biggest Palpatine." Because remember, that is his granddaughter. Don't forget about that great storyline they did.
He absorbs her powers and just kills her off. No possible like seeing Daisy Ridley again
no,
in the MCU.
it's
'cause
off
he just
screen
absorbed
like
her.
Mara.
Yeah.
It just Ray died somehow.
5
Ray
years
died.
later.
Yeah, and he's just like he's in her body pretending.
He's got her lightsaber. He's just
Yeah.
Maybe Ray has
Um,
Palpatine as a baby.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Awesome.
Gosh. Fuck. What do you name them? Sheev.
That's his essence. He birthed, he just took a new form.
Sheev
Woof.
Jr.
You mentioning that, reminding me we could do a Obi-Wan around the corner. That's nice. I think the fact that we know we have Hayden Christensen back, like if we get Ian McDermott back, I think that would be pretty damn sweet actually.
Yeah.
Just having like the three amigos back together again. Maybe not amigos, the three players in Revenge of the
That
Sith
doesn't
era
work
film.
either.
So they're just the players. Come on, they're competing in the whatever. Just
Yeah, right.
Someone else take the mic.
Yeah, no, I
just
think that's what's gonna
drowning over
happen. I'm excited. Like I said, anytime we get more Palpatine, Ian, I'm down for it. So yeah, we're not too far away from 01. So I know, Jessica, you probably wouldn't have much to say on Palpatine, but like, one, you can say anything you want on Palpatine, and two, what do you think just in general is gonna get you back to check out a Star Wars movie or TV show? Because I feel like you're pretty checked out of that universe.
I wouldn't say I'm checked out of it. I just don't
Did you-
want to
have you
invest the
seen-
time in the series.
I
know.
feel like that's pretty similar. You're not checked out, but you don't want to invest any time in it.
Well, I don't want to invest, 7 hours into it. If a movie comes out and it's 2 hours and
Okay.
can pump it out in one sitting, yes. But to watch, because Mandalorian had what, like 12 episodes at an hour apiece?
I think they're 10. Yeah, I think it's 10 or something like that. No, they're not an hour piece. They may say that, but it's like some of them are short. Some of them are like 30 minutes stuff. Like there's no set time. They've had hour episodes. They've had like 30 to 28-minute episodes. So
Yeah, so, I mean, from the outside looking in, because I know I saw that one of the people we were talking about directed episode 11 on The Mandalorian. So 11 episodes, and if it says it's an hour long, I'm looking at a lot of hours to invest. So for me, it's just when I only get 2 hours a day to myself, Star Wars is not where I want to invest that. But if there's a movie coming out, I'll go see that because that's a standalone 2 hours. I can get it and leave and be happy with it, hopefully.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
happy with it. So that's the difference.
okay, that's fair. I'm waiting for a Star Wars movie again one day. They just don't want to make them anymore, I guess. They made 4 movies. They made 5 movies. 4 of them made $1 billion, and it's we're good. We're not gonna do it anymore. They're gonna do it. They just have
The
so
next
much
villain
more.
better be fucking ripped like an MMA fighter.
He better be. Yeah, Ray's gonna be fighting ripped, regurgitated Palpatine. But anything else on this episode? Or sorry,
Great to be
this.
back.
Yeah, it's great to be back. But anything else on this particular topic? Sorry, I should have said that. Going once, going twice. So we'll see if Palpatine's back. And yeah, that's GV473. We're going to be back next week with, I'm not sure when there'll be a newscast because there's going to be Doctor Strange. That's going to go for a few days. So sometime later in the week, there'll be a newscast. But yeah, there's lots of other stuff. Moon Knight's coming out, some Patreon exclusive, things like that. So thank you, Jessica and Kirklin, for joining me on this venture and had some good times, had some laughs, had some cries. Everything in between, so had some pew.
Absolutely.
And that's all that matters. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for tuning in. I promise when you hear from us next, not be boring.
Goodbye.